Emotional intelligence grows through perception. Look around at your immediate situation and observe it through the level of feeling. This is a really famous quote from Deepak Chopra, and ultimately what it's showing us is as soon as we can observe something through feeling, as soon as we come back into empathy, compassion and our emotions, immediately the parts of our brain that couldn't get to problem solve and that felt detached and felt like we're under threat start to quieten down, and we open up to a bunch of new perspectives which are healthier, more supportive and allow us to work a lot more effectively. The first thing we need to do is understand what is low emotional intelligence and what is high emotional intelligence. Through understanding this, we can see where we're at, which part of the scale we sit on, and we can understand how to change our behaviour. So number one, low emotional intelligence. So what this essentially is it's times in our life where we may have had a series of adversities or a series of difficult situations, and what those difficult situations mean is that our perception and our lens through the way that we look at life is ultimately that life is out to get us, that bad things are destined to happen to us, and the underpinning ethos of this is as if we have absolutely no control over our lives. Now, we all know that person that every time we see them, they're always talking about problems, bad things going on, and always obviously filling us in on the negative. And this person always seems to be victim to life circumstances. In the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about how superstition and negativity are all a figment of our imagination and how they actually keep us stuck from what we're looking to achieve. The type of person that has low emotional intelligence is that sort of person that completely is surrendered to those around them, the circumstances around them, and feeling super trapped from other people influencing their lives. I'm the first one to admit, for most of my teenage years and through my 20s, I was this person. I felt completely disempowered from life. I was brought up in an incredibly strict environment where I saw a lot of violence and I saw challenging things happen around me. And through that, and through a sequence of me being trapped in the cycle of negativity and suffering, all I ever thought was that bad things happened in life, like I had no control over it, and I was constantly living in a state of threat and suffering, as though my nervous system was constantly looking out for situations where I would feel rejected, I would feel abandoned, I would feel a loss of support or a lack of support. And it was that constant belief within me that I have no control over my life and everything that's negative is happening, and these things that are happening to me will probably happen to me forever. Now, as I went on my own healing and self-development journey, the biggest thing that I learnt to do was train myself on how I am the controller of my life, how I get to control how I see life, and how I get to predict all of the positive things that happen in life, as opposed to feeling surrendered to what's going to happen to me. I became the controller of my life, and I became empowered through how to look at life, how life actually works, and how when we change our perspective on how life works by coming back to high emotional intelligence, we begin experiencing flow states more, we begin experiencing synchronicities more, and we generally learn to detach, surrender, and just enjoy life, because life is a journey. And as we start to change some of those perspectives, we start to see more positive things happen, then more positive things happen, and sometimes it's difficult to handle because all we've ever thought is that life is against us, bad things happen to us, we're constantly under threat. So it's a bit of an adjustment, but I can absolutely guarantee that if you learn to incorporate some of these things after today, you'll start to develop the bar a little bit higher and a little bit higher. So you'll get to the point where you're not so much victim and you'll feel so much more empowered, and your relationships will improve as a result of this. So number one, enhancing self-awareness. The way that we do this is, first of all, understanding that the more we have time to self-reflect, through things like journaling, meditation, detachment, and situations where it's just us, we naturally have more reflection time, and through this we become better friends. Most of our life, when we've been through challenging situations, it can lead us to be constantly on edge, triggered, or have a really compelling chemical reaction as we're remembering a bad thing that happened that's made us feel a certain way. The more that we can self-reflect, whether it's daily, weekly, or doing this with a coach or therapist, the more that we do this, we learn to manage the emotions that we're feeling. We become more self-aware of why we're feeling those emotions and where they're rooted from. And generally, research studies show that the more we learn to self-reflect, we become better leaders, and actually our ability to make decisions improves drastically as well. The best way that we can enhance self-awareness is literally by taking time to be with our feelings and have self-reflection. The more we have self-reflection time, and the more we have a chance to be able to journal, the more that we have time to sit with our emotions, feelings and triggers, we generally become better leaders, we have a better ability to make decisions, and we have a better chance at having the actual self-awareness of what's going on within us, whether that's through journaling, through a therapist, or through somebody helping us. What we then stop doing is projecting our life experience onto another person being responsible for how we feel, and as a result we feel more empowered, we feel more in control of our lives, and we become self-aware of more of the positive things happening in life and how we are a participant in how we choose to have that perspective. Number 2, practicing self-regulation. The way that practicing self-regulation differs from self-awareness is it's mainly focused on the physiological side of the chemical reaction that can be triggered within us. So exercises like breathing, meditating and exercising, what they're doing is they're actually looking after the body's aspect of how we can develop ourselves and have better emotional intelligence by essentially feeding oxygen into our cells, moving our energy particles, and really incorporating a healthier way of slowing down, becoming conscious and becoming observational. Naturally, when somebody is practicing all of these things, they have less reactivity because their body is constantly moving and shifting energy. This shifts our thoughts, this shifts our awareness, and it allows us to have new beliefs, form new neural pathways within our brain, and naturally through this we have better experiences and we're able to feel a lot more and have a lot more self-compassion. Studies indicate that regular meditation reduces stress and enhances emotional control. The third one of these is cultivating empathy. So just like the quote at the start of the video, the more that we can feel and be with our emotions, the more we can feel empathy, and this naturally as a result means that we're higher emotionally intelligent beings. Cultivating empathy is ultimately the ability to understand and feel the feelings of ourselves and others. The more that we can share our feelings, the more that we understand our feelings and we hear others' feelings, the more that this improves our relationships, it makes us more collaborative at work, and it generally improves our well-being. Being empathetic is another massive indicator of great leaders because they're constantly practicing self-reflection on their own feelings, and they're constantly learning how to listen to and react to the feelings of others as well. Number 4, building strong social skills. Effective communication and interpersonal skills are again massive indicators of success in our personal lives and success in our professional lives. But how do we do this? When we have struggles in our relationships or we've had issues in our relationships, the best thing that we can do is, as soon as we've started to learn how to practice more emotional awareness and emotional control, put ourselves in positions where we're reaching out of our comfort zone and put ourselves in positions where we're pushing ourselves to make new friendships, make new connections, and really build that confidence that comes with having a newfound emotional intelligence. The more that we can practice effective communication and effective interpersonal skills, the more we succeed personally and the more we succeed professionally. But how do we do this? So as soon as we practice self-awareness and self-regulation, naturally as a result of this, our relationships begin to improve, so that what we end up doing is putting ourselves in situations where we're more willing to connect with new people, reach out and make new connections, and we become more loving, trusting and open to life, rather than somebody with lower emotional intelligence that deems other people as threats. When we improve our social awareness and emotional intelligence, we start to perceive others as being able to give to us because we understand they're part of the ecosystem in life. So it naturally improves interpersonal relations. Number 5 is relationship management. So as we build our emotional intelligence, one of the key things that we'll need to do more of is relationship management. And what this predominantly is based on is conflict resolution. Somebody with lower emotional intelligence will constantly blame others, critique others and criticize others, because in their world everything that's happening to them is completely outside their control. When somebody learns some of these techniques and starts to improve their social awareness and their emotional intelligence, what starts to happen is that when there's a conflict or where there's a problem, they become so calm and at a more stabilized level where they're able to easily come up with more solutions, and that part of the brain that was constantly reactive and triggered from the stress is less noisy. The part of the brain that comes up with solutions starts wiring and firing a little bit more, so those neurons start working together a little bit more effectively, so there's less conflict, there's generally more peace, and again this leads to professional success, it leads to personal success, and it's all built under the premise that once we can calm our nervous systems down, because we stop perceiving that everybody around us is a threat, we start coming up with solutions because we understand we're empowered, we get to choose to change our behaviours and we get to perceive life in a new way, and we naturally are able to have better relationships, whether it be in our work or personal life. Building and maintaining relationships is critical for both personal success and for professional success, and as we build our higher emotional intelligence, what starts to happen is the parts of our brain that were kind of turned off because we were constantly stressed, criticising and blaming others, they slow down, and the parts of our brain that come up with solutions and creativity are wired together a little bit more. So anytime something happens, we're more so in the state of emotional intelligence to be able to solve that problem collaboratively, effectively and with empathy. So building up some of these skills vastly improves our ability to have healthy relationship management within our lives. So there you have it, 5 of the best techniques for improving and mastering emotional awareness. Try and implement some of these and take it one by one, and remember that life is a journey, and the more that you practice some of these techniques, the more you'll start to see improvements, and the more you'll start to feel that you're empowered and that you're a creator in your reality rather than a victim. If you have any suggestions on how to improve emotional intelligence, please pop them down in the comments. I'll drop a link to the book that I referenced here, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.